Hey Alexander, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Oh, how are you, brother?
I'm doing just fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate it. And oftentimes, Alexander, I love to thank my guests for two main things. You see, and I do this so often to the point where I think it has become my anthem. All right. So, firstly, Alexander, I want to say thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Alex, some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it and the leaves were all dry. I just walked past it. I wasn't really happy with the tree, so I just walked past it. But you see, Alex, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. Oh man, it was a beautiful moment that day. I kept smiling just like you are right now, and I kept looking at the beauty of the fruit and the tree and the leaves. It's amazing. It made my day that day. It was a very special moment. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show, because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, the impact your work is having, your philosophies, your insight. Oh man, they are amazing. And I'm grateful that you're here today, and myself and the audience were about to benefit from all of the amazing work that you're doing. And secondly, Alexander, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. Thank you so very much, my man. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. And that's something I always do as well as bow. Somebody recently actually went to shake my hand, and I bowed, and I said, "Will you do the bow?" And he took it personally. He got offended because I wouldn't shake his hand. I'm like,
Hmm.
"Hey, brother, it's nothing to take
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
It's just something that I do. It's I bow to the light in you. I honor the light in you. Namaste." So thank you for that bow, brother. And I really appreciate that intro. That was a beautiful introduction. Uh, well thought out. I love the analogy, and it just goes to show, not to judge the mango tree because it comes from the seed, our origin, the Mother Earth, and it's beautiful what that seed does and grows into, and it does it without even having to think about it. That's the beautiful thing. It does it all on its own, and it goes to show the power that's in all of us, every single one of us. We all come from, speaking of the mango seed, we all come from one seed, one semen cell specifically. And, that's a big part of my journey is semen retention. I feel that's a huge part of my contribution because, there's a lot of information about it on YouTube and other platforms, people talking about it. Like I recently came across a woman on there speaking about it, but she doesn't have the experience or the seed to talk about it. So even though she's a professional in her field and that's respectable, in order for people to truly be able to talk about something, it has to be something that is within their experience. And I believe that we all have common ground, have a commonality, and of course that commonality is divinity. And although we may have been through different experiences, we all have gone through similar emotions inwardly, subjectively. So, although the outer experience may have been different, the outer situation may vary, ultimately, we've all been through, similar things emotionally and mentally. So, we can all relate to each other. There's always that common ground. And that's a big part of my philosophy. And looping back to what I was just saying about celibacy, there's a lot of people posting stuff on here about it. talking about it, but they're not really living it. So in order to really know it, to be able to talk about it with authority and power, and your words have substance and meaning, you really have to be living it and being it. So it's almost been 3 years now of committing to that journey of retaining that seed, like the mango seed, the power of nature, that power that's within all of us. And you know, it's a beautiful thing to watch that unfold by itself, without kind of interfering and without interjecting my personal will into the process, and allowing that seed to bloom and see what results from that and see what manifests from that. Because the information that I'm sharing, that I'm blessed to be a channel for, and the book that I've written recently, and now it's now on Amazon. It's been a humbling experience, and I'm blessed to that has been able to manifest through this one. A big part of that is seeing retention, cherishing that seed, our origin, that root. We talk about the root, our origin, and that has to do with our lowest energy center, the root chakra, connected to Mother Earth. Survival, and that's important. But when we raise our energy up by retaining it instead of releasing it, then it stays within us, it builds up within us, and this abundance, we get to share this. And that's the beauty of it, because we get to have conversations like this, and all who hear it will be able to benefit from it and be able to sense the authenticity. So I want this to be a balanced conversation, back and forth.
That's
Like I
right.
said, it's a beautiful intro, so I don't want to do all the talking. So
Got
I
it.
want to hear what you have to say now.
Yeah, yeah, I tell you. You see, you mentioned something that really, really kept me wondering and thinking deep about it. You said commonality is divinity. That's a very deep statement because I was thinking about it and I discovered some beautiful thing. We all have something in common, and all of these things that we all share points to just one single thing, that we belong to one same source. And that's a very deep statement, Alex. And I'm still going to do some more thinking on that. So thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned nature. So let us pick the first question from that aspect. So how does nature influence your spiritual and creative journey? Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, I would love to. Eh, Although, many different people could be listening to this from all different parts of the world, and in all different environments. And although our environment is important, it's also important to remember that, hey, I am, that source that you just mentioned within us, is beyond any physical location. It's something within us that we can tune into, that is kind of transcends any physical location. But as we exist in the physical environment, it's important to be conscious of this and incorporate, maybe that's not the best word, but to simply be in an environment that reflects our inner state of consciousness. And it always does, wherever we are. But to consciously go out into nature, especially this time of year when, where I'm at in the world, upstate New York, it's cold this time of year. And a lot of people I observe, they don't get outside as much as they would in the summer. I make it a point to go outside every day, to go on a walk, get the blood moving, and breathing in the fresh air, because what's really important is life breath. As it says in the Bible, I'm not religious. I don't identify with a certain religion. I don't say this is the right one. That's it. But I often reference the Bible because a lot of people are familiar with it. And it says in the Bible, the two things that keep us in this body on this earth is bread and breath, food and the life breath. So to be conscious of this life breath is very important. So I always make a point to go, because it opens up the heart chakra. The air element is very important. So to consciously get outside, for those that are in colder climates and breathe in the fresh, cool, crisp air. It's very invigorating, cleansing. And again, to get the blood circulating and just establish consciously that connection with nature as we harmoniously interact with all of humanity, and with that intention too, to say, hey, even if I don't have any interactions like we are now, which I'm very grateful for because I spend a lot of time in solitude, but even if I don't have any of these human interactions today, then I'm still, by my intention, by my action, uplifting everything around me. And not only just humans, but trees, especially. They're very responsive. If you have a certain spiritual sensitivity, you can simply be around a tree and actually feel it and feel one with it, and simply sit maybe at the base of it and be with it like you would a human. And we have that connection with everything, and everything in nature. And it's a beautiful thing when you develop a spiritual sensitivity. I wouldn't even say develop, because it's not something that we have to develop, because it already exists within us intrinsically. We come into this world as a pure, fresh baby that hasn't been programmed with anything, with any ideas and thoughts that limit it. It's just simply pure awareness, pure aliveness. And that's why people love babies, because of that purity. But with that purity, maybe from committing to celibacy, comes a certain spiritual sensitivity, and thus a profound sense of connectivity with all of nature, again, with all of humanity. Because we're all here on this earth together, and as you said previously, we share that commonality of divinity. And it just said reconnecting, or sorry to interrupt. Are you hearing me clearly? Is it going back and forth or no?
Beautiful. I got that, and thank you for explaining it that way. You made it quite easy to understand. So you mentioned that you wrote a book. So I wanted to ask, what was the biggest surprise you discovered while writing your book?
What was the question again?
Okay, I'll repeat it. I said, what was the biggest surprise you discovered while writing your book?
Well, is very process wasn't planned, so it was just very interesting to witness it unfold, how it did authentically. And I simply showed up every day. I know eventually that I wanted the final manuscript to become a book that everybody could benefit from, and that was the intention going in. And how it unfolded, it started off as me showing up every day and simply writing, journaling, and it transformed into a book over, I'd say, about a 3-year period of time. So the surprise, I guess, would just be how it unfolded, kind of by itself, like you were talking about the mango seed and the mango tree, how it just does its thing naturally. And at first, there's a little bit of resistance, making that commitment to show up every day. Some days I didn't really feel like doing it. But as I persisted with it and continued it and had that vision in mind, that vision of completion of the final book, as I stayed with it, it kind of just unfolded by itself. And it's a beautiful process.
Hmm, amazing. So what inspired you to pick that particular title for your book?
Well, like I just said, a lot of people are very familiar with the Bible. So that concept of immaculate conception, uh, a lot of people are familiar with it. And if they're not, still it kind of has a ring to it. Because ultimately, words are simply vibration. Words are sound, and vibration is the language of God. So we all want to be conscious of our vibration every day and what kind of vibe we're transmitting, and how we're uplifting. But manifest your immaculate conception. That word manifest too is very important, because we're all here manifest right now in this world. And manifestation, all of creation, is that root of manifestation, is that source that we whether we are directly saying source or whatever label, we're ultimately, I sense in this conversation, that's the basis of the conversation. So whether we're referring to it directly or not, we're talking about it the whole time, every single second. So with the title in mind, that's where it came from. And it's really geared towards the reader to help them manifest their natural abundance that's already within them.
Hmm,
And
beautiful, Alex. I love the last part. To help them manifest the natural abundance that is already within them. That's a great statement. Within. I love the fact that you used the word within. It's not something you have to find outside or outward you. It is right within you. And that shows that you've got some really, really incredible insight. I tell you, I've learned a series of things from you just by listening to you speak. And I would have to listen to our conversation over and over again. Okay, the last question, Alexander. For new writers, folks who just new authors, what advice do you have for new writers?
well, to go back to the intro, keep going back to that because, like I said, I really appreciate it about the mango seed and the tree. And that we all have this seed of life within us. And not to try to force the process with personal willingness, but more so of an allowingness and to allow it unfold effortless, naturally, harmoniously. As you make the definite commitment, you say you want to manifest something, you have a certain vision, that vision that was given to you from within, not that something you heard about from your parents or your teachers or whoever, but something that you feel and you know in your heart that wants to come through you, that you want to share with the world. If you have that vision, just to persist with it. Simply make the commitment, the definite commitment, and never give up. And I promise you, I guarantee you, it will manifest through you. Simply be the channel for it and don't try to force the process. Simply trust the process. I know that may sound cliche, but there's a lot of wisdom in that. Oftentimes we hear a cliche, it goes in one ear and out the other, and we've heard something so many times. Maybe somebody telling us I love you, and they say it so much it kind of loses its flavor, it loses its meaning. But if we simply sit and think about maybe somebody hears one concept in this video and it really resonates with them, and they simply sit with it and meditate upon it, contemplate, upon it. And that is ultimately the most profound thing I can suggest is to simply look within, and whatever is within that wants to come out will come out on its own. And sometimes there may be a little resistance within, but to simply observe it and don't resist the resistance. Have persistence and trust
Exactly.
the process.
That's right. That's right. And I'll take that as a final thought. That's a beautiful one, my man. So for folks who like to reach out to you or even ask questions or make a purchase of your amazing book, how can that be possible?
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, I said for folks who like to reach out to you or even ask questions or make a purchase of your book, how can that be possible?
I'll share a link with you. There's a link to the website, which also has a link to the YouTube channel, and vice versa. The YouTube channel has a link to the website, and all the content that I'm still currently posting is relevant. It all ties into each other. So I'll share that link with you, and perhaps you can put it in the podcast description. And there's a contact page on the website that people can send me an email, and it says right on that contact page, I'm open. I'm open to everything except debates. So if anybody has any questions, suggestions, criticisms, whatever, um, I'm open to everything. So that's there.
Beautiful. That's a brilliant one. So that's going to be the end of the show, Alexander. Thank you for coming and thank you for, exposing us to this beautiful information. It means a whole lot, man. Thank
God bless, brother.
you.
Thank you.
Amen.